A-levels sound and look better than BTECs. Alright, just hear me out when I say this. Don't do BTECs. Now, we've got this big problem nowadays where young people, they just want to go for the easier route. And when you get to college and or you hear about A-levels and how people struggle, how difficult they are, the big jump from GCSEs to A-levels, then people automatically get inclined towards BTEC. But that shouldn't be the case, because it's definitely not a good idea. We'll break it into two. First, we'll think about if you want to go down the university route or if you want to go down an apprenticeship or a job. So first, the university route. Let's say you want to apply for a certain course, optometry, and you've got a BTEC in applied sciences, for example. Even if you were to get distinction in that BTEC, in whatever form it is, you now apply to the university, the course that you want. And yeah, fair enough, if they only ask for UCAS points, then your eligibility-wise, that's fine. You've got the UCAS points for it. Now, as a university, if they have 100 people applying to that optometry course and they can only accept 50, how will you be picked over someone who's got A-levels? Students who have done A-levels generally tend to be more clever. And there's much more to it. It shows either the university or the employer that the student is willing to work harder to get what he wants. They're willing to be put under pressure to achieve something that others cannot. So just applying for your course, how will you stand out from 50 other people who have done A-levels and you have your BTEC? And they might not even have got A stars or whatever. They might have got decent grades, Bs, As, but on paper that still looks better, whether you got more UCAS points or not. And I know many people, myself, that they've done well in BTECs, but they've had to move away from home when they didn't want to go to a university that does accept BTECs. That's another problem. Not every university will accept BTEC for the course. They'll only accept certain A-levels. They'll say you'll have to have this A-level, this A-level, this A-level at this grade. If you have BTEC, can't apply. There's also that problem. So now let's look at it from an apprenticeship point of view or an employer point of view. An apprenticeship is pretty similar to the university route, where they'll ask you, what grades did you get? So a lot of apprenticeships also ask for UCAS points, just so they know that you've got the minimum. So again, you might be able to check that box off with the BTEC, the qualification that you have. But it's really not a big deal. That's literally there just to make sure that they don't have students who are failing to get in. It does not help you stand out. For an apprenticeship, it's even more difficult compared to university, where they can accept 50 to 100 people, that's fine. Whereas an apprenticeship, maybe they'll accept 5, maybe they'll accept 1. How do you stand out? Now, I did mention in other videos where work experience and all that, that's separate. And if you do have a BTEC, there's probably more emphasis on you and there's probably more pressure on you to go and get that work experience so that you stand out somehow. But just focusing on qualifications, on paper, to an employer, A-levels sound and look better than BTECs. That's number one. Number two, employees will think, can someone who's done a BTEC compared to someone who's done an A-level in terms of their skill, in terms of the pressure that they can handle, in terms of the knowledge that they've received? An A-level in a particular subject goes more into depth, whereas a BTEC is more general, is more encompassing, and it doesn't really go into depth. Now, I've not done a BTEC myself, so I'm not exactly sure what a student would cover, and each course is different. But from my general understanding, this is how it works. But I do know how employees think. I do know what they look for in an apprenticeship. I have that knowledge. I do have that experience, and I can tell you, based off what I've done, based off what I know others have done, the difference and how you can get accepted, how you can get a job. It makes a big difference, especially if you want a job early on. Now, if you've already got 5-10 years worth of experience, then it doesn't really matter, honestly. Even A-levels after that point, if you've got a degree, then A-levels won't technically matter. But the most difficult part for youngsters, for teenagers, for people in the early 20s is actually trying to get a job at the beginning. That's where the biggest jump is. So how would you stand out? Now, if you're someone who's not taken A-levels yet, or not done a BTEC yet, or not entered college yet, then this is my advice to you. Don't do a BTEC. Go for A-levels, because you're already making it more difficult for yourself if you go choosing a BTEC route and you eventually want to get into an apprenticeship. So number one, I advise you just stay away from BTECs. Number two, if you do have a BTEC, which I'm sure there's a lot of you who have gone down that route, you might be struggling to get into university or get a job, or if you want to do an apprenticeship, that'll be more difficult as well. So I'll go back to my early advice, where get some work experience, because you do need something to stand out. Maybe do a separate qualification online or in the field that you want. I always suggest work experience is number one. That's exactly that. That is the secret to literally getting a job or an apprenticeship that you want. Something else now I want to touch on is I don't understand why students use the BTEC route. Now I get that it's easier. Most of the time there's no exams. It's just coursework. You get to chill out, but you're making it worse for your own future. It's not difficult to work hard for 2 years in college, work towards A levels, get decent grades. Now I'm not saying that I get it. A levels are difficult. I have done it, and I know how it is. I understand that the jump from GCSEs to A levels is massive, and I'm not saying I did amazing in my A levels. I didn't, but I put enough work to make sure I passed properly. I put enough work outside of my A levels, which is what you need to do, whether you're doing A levels or BTEC. You need to put enough work outside of your A levels or your BTEC or your college life to get work experience. You have to stand out somehow. So no matter which option you choose, A levels or BTEC, that needs to be done regardless. You can't be lazy and expect an apprenticeship or a job to just drop into your lap if you've not done enough beforehand to get there. You've basically got two options after GCSEs, or three options. You can either A levels, BTEC, go straight into work. You can get an apprenticeship from then as well. That's still a really good option. There's less competition in that. I can speak about that another time. But that level 3, level 4 apprenticeship is a really good option, especially if you don't want to go into A levels. So now let's say you've cut that down to A levels, BTEC. I suggest A levels always. Now you've got university, apprenticeship, or regular job. I would advise apprenticeship over a regular job or university. And after apprenticeship, I would advise a job. But again, it depends on the field that you're going into, what sort of job you're doing. Not just some crappy job just to make some money and fill some time. Something worthwhile where you can make a career from it. You've got a future ahead of you and something valuable. So just for the sake of this video, where I want to keep it simple, between A levels and BTEC, if you are having some sort of confusion, some sort of difficulty in choosing, then this is your sign. Don't make the mistake of choosing BTECs. It might sound harsh and it might sound bad to maybe some people that have done BTECs, or maybe you've done a BTEC and it sounds like I'm coming across as not very good. But the reality of it is I'm saving you a lot of trouble in the future. You will find it difficult to get a job. You will find it difficult to get into the university course that you want. And apprenticeships, at that point, there's so much competition out there for apprenticeships that you might as well forget about it if you've done a BTEC. You're basically giving yourself close to a 0% chance to even get in. Because people are upping the game. I mean, they're coming in with A levels, they're coming in with work experience, they're coming in with extra qualifications, they're coming in with side projects, and you're here just with your standalone BTEC. You're not going to get anywhere, and that's the reality of it. So make some effort. Choose A levels. Choose wisely, not like fine art or drama, music, or some stupid waste of time. Unless that's what you want to go into, then that's up to you. But do something worthwhile. If you've got a career, sort of a vague career plan in your mind, then aim towards that. Like I said, if you want to go into engineering, then you can't end up doing A levels for some random crap. You have to tailor it towards that. You have to do maths. You have to do physics, for example. There are 2 or 3 that you have to do. Choose at least 2 that are directly attributed towards the career that you want to go into. And the third one, make it a bit easier. I wouldn't say do it completely different, but make it a bit easier. For example, I knew that I had to do maths and physics because I wanted to go into engineering. Initially, I thought aerospace, and that was needed anyways, maths and physics. Then I went into civil, and more specifically geotechnical. But again, maths and physics still applied to that, so that was fine. And for the third one, I chose computer science because I found it a bit easier, sounded better, sounded more intriguing to me, because I knew I'd hate the maths A levels anyways. The physics I liked, I was fairly good at it, fair enough. But the computer science, I thought it'd be easier. I had heard other people say it's a bit easy as well, and that was my easiest A levels. That was the easiest A level that I did, and I got the highest grade in it. It was less revision for me, it was less work for me, less pressure for me, and it worked out. So choose wisely is what I'm saying. So hopefully I've shown you very briefly the reality of choosing a BTEC, and it's not a good option. If you just want to get by, if you're just going to college for the sake of your parents pushing you to college, then it's up to you. If you've got other plans, if you've got a business online, or you've got a business that's making you money, and again you're just going to college for the sake of it, fair enough, do what you want. But if you do have a career plan in mind, if you do have apprenticeships that you want to pursue, or a certain university course that you want to attend and be part of, then my sincere advice to you is don't do BTECs. That's it from me. I'll see you next time.